everybody, welcome back to Connor here. It is my channel. I hope you're all doing fantastically well. Thank you so much for your support recently. We're touching in on 1,500 subscribers. I couldn't have imagined that and my videos getting the views that they've got. I think we hit something like 10,000 views very, very quickly. And I just want to say a big thank you to everybody on the channel. It really, really means a lot to me. But today we're going to be speaking about the transfer rumours. Stick with me and let's get into it. So I'm going to start off with West Bromwich Albion, everybody. And by God, we've got a two-pronged story today. We're going to be starting off with Josh Maja. Now, apparently Chelsea and Spurs are interested. 26 appearances, 12 goals, 2 assists. Maja has really evolved from being at Bordeaux, his early days at Sunderland. He was seen as a real prospect. Then he went, obviously, to the league-earned side and really prospered out there. It was a really good signing for West Bromwich Albion, and by goodness, didn't he develop under the ever-fantastic Carlos Corberán. And look, yeah, I think Maja and Corberán was almost a match made in heaven. The off-the-ball and on-the-ball work, it just worked between the pair. And it looks like Maja right now is being looked at by Tottenham, 15 million quid. Looked at by Chelsea, 15 million quid. Now, the Baggies have got to play this a certain way. Obviously depends on the manager coming in, but there's a little bit of, I wouldn't say turmoil, I think that's a bit strong, but they're looking for the new manager now, and it feels a little bit mixed, and we're going to bring in now Raphael Wiki, who... It's not gonna happen with him and West Bromwich Albion. The former Young Boys Swiss coach, 47 years of age, a 1.97 points per game record. Very, very good. And you feel, Maja, would he stay in the January window if there was a manager coming in and telling him how much he's worth for the Baggies? Just stay with us till the end of the season, then we'll see where we're at. Obviously, I know with Tottenham and Chelsea, it's going to be very, very difficult to reject those offers, and it's really nice to see Maja in terms of the trajectory he's got to, from Sunderland to Bordeaux to West Brom to potentially one of the top clubs in this country. But maybe he just needs to stay put. Maybe he just needs to hone his craft and stay at the Baggies, get them into the playoffs and potentially get them into the Premier League. But it's a real churn now at West Bromwich Albion. It looks like the next manager they're looking at is Sean Dyche. I would maybe be looking at someone who replicates that of Carlos Corberán. Maybe a Craig Bellamy who's worked under Vincent Kompany, who plays a progressive possession style based game. Johnny Heitinger, another one who plays a similar brand of football, but moving away from that and going towards a Sean Dyche doesn't make a lot of sense. Baggies fans, let me know what you think in the comment section below. Norwich closing in on another signing as well, Matej Eustace. I think this is a really good signing. The Slavia Prague winger. You just look at him and he absolutely stinks of athleticism. He can invert extremely well, and he looks like a really good replacement for Christian Fastnacht. I think it's a really intelligent move from Norwich. They're looking to bolster that front line, of course, with the likes of Sargent, who's been out. Looks like he's coming back into the fore, though. Ashley Barnes leaving the club. It is a gap. It's a gap when it comes to experience as well. So bringing someone like Lewis Dobbin in as well, it adds a bit of pace to Norwich's front line. And after a very underwhelming start to the Championship season, I'm really hoping that the Canaries can get back on song. And with the likes of Dobbin back in, with the likes of Sargent back in, and with the likes of someone like Eustace back in, they can maybe, in the short term, sort of compensate for Borja Sainz's suspension, and hopefully you're going to see Norwich pushing on upwards in the second half of the season. And Whittaker to Burnley. My goodness, what a story this is. What a performance it was from Whittaker at the GTEC Stadium the other day as the Pilgrims put their knife into Brentford down in London. A 1-0 victory in the FA Cup. A brilliant finish from Morgan Whittaker. Numbers not amazing this season. 18 performances, 3 goals and 1 assist. Not, you know, highlight real stuff, but in a Burnley side with all the quality in that Burnley side at Championship level, that player is only going to increase. Of course, that happens in football. You know, you might be part of a poor side with the greatest of respect to Plymouth in respect to Plymouth in comparison to Burnley and the financial disparity between the two clubs and what's on the pitch. But Burnley have got a good player here. They have got a good player. They're returning with a second bid, and sort of sources close to Burnley are quietly confident that this one will get done. I think this is a really good signing. It adds competition in the front line. Ashley Barnes comes in with experience. Morgan Whittaker coming in as that sort of young pizzazz with a proven record last season. Not great this season, but Scott Parker will be thinking he can get him back to that level again, which will give Burnley that push that they need going forward. Their XG hasn't been great this season. The goal scored hasn't been great this season. Scotty Parker will be hoping that Morgan Whittaker will provide a little bit more for the Clarets. Ben Brereton Diaz, my goodness, who on earth is going to be signing this guy. Obviously, Southampton are apparently getting rid of a few players, including Walker Peters as well, including Ben Brereton Diaz in the January month. I'm sure there's going to be numerous clubs looking at his signature, both of their signatures, I should say. But Ben Brereton Diaz is an interesting one. Sunderland versus Sheffield United. Blackburn, who we're going to speak on in just a little bit, are interested in their previous player, getting him back on loan. But my goodness, Ben Brereton Diaz, Sunderland or Sheffield United, it's a proper competition. Sunderland have entered the conversation. If you're Brereton Diaz, you're looking at the fact that they're going to be keeping all the Joe Bellingham. You look at the fact that they've brought in Enzo Lafay, and you're thinking to yourself, my God, that is a really good option right now. And that's what Sunderland have done with the transfer business so far, of keeping hold of Joe but bringing in Enzo Lafay. It's a two-pronged thing which sees Sunderland in a really good transfer state. We move over to South Yorkshire and Sheffield United. There is a left wing position right there because Gus Hamer is not a left winger. Get him in that central attacking midfield role, Sheffield United, and you are going to see a prosperous and much better Gus Hamer. And I think maybe Callum O'Hare just goes to the bench there. Andre Brooks on that right-hand side. Still got returnees to come back as well. Raksaki is another winger option, but they've got a really big gap there. So both teams, Romain Mundle being out at Sunderland as well, both teams have that left wing position, of which someone like Ben Brereton Diaz comes in and really helps, and whoever wins that deal is going to be so interesting in this promotion push. Blackburn as well, some really good news for them. Eustace is absolutely buzzing. He's done an interview, I think it was his press conference actually, speaking about the signings of Dion Sanderson, a strong, athletic, physical defender, of which we know John Eustace really, really enjoys and goes for when it comes to profiling, but also Adam Forshaw, who is a little bit of a like-for-like replacement for Lewis Baker, who was a like-for-like replacement of Lewis Travers, who was out the side, of course. Baker going back. I think it's a really good signing, bringing someone like Forshaw in. Experienced, but someone at that level who can definitely dictate the tempo, and someone who, with the right personnel around him, is only going to make Blackburn better. I would just like to say that the Ben Brereton Diaz effect, imagine if Blackburn could just guarantee him these minutes. Guarantee he knows the club extremely well. That's where he first started. That's where he started to make a name for himself. Imagine if Ben Brereton Diaz with Sunderland, Sheffield United just decided, you know what? I'm going to go with Blackburn. I'm going to go with John Eustace, because Blackburn are still in the picture. They are still a problem with that top six. You know, so who knows what he's going to do, but I think this is shaping up so interestingly now. All three teams need a left profile, but as well with Ben Brereton Diaz, we know that he can play in that centre-forward role, of which he's played for Southampton this season 3 times. It's a really interesting transfer day today, everybody, and flipping heck, who knew? Let me know in the comment section what you think is going to happen. That's been it, everybody. We're going to be bringing you these profiles on most days. Thank you so much for your support. As I say, like, comment, subscribe if you've enjoyed this. Make sure you comment in the section below, and I'll see you in a bit. Cheers.